We have Dhani Harrison in the studio. How are you?
Great, thanks.
Nice to see you.
How you doing?
I've met you before, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. You came round our spot over at in Santa Monica a long time ago. We were playing like a little gig.
That's right, for Shepherd Ferry.
Yeah,
wasn't
with
it?
Shepherd. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
and
it.
I remember coming out of our little studio and seeing you guys right down the end, and I thought, oh bloody hell, that's funny.
Bloody hell! Look, it's him.
Yeah.
So we're talking about motorbikes,
We were just talking about motorbikes, yeah.
but you want one for a different reason.
I was thinking of getting like an earthquake bike, just in case anything went wrong, like an old BMW or something. So, just in case you needed to like get out the traffic.
But you would worry about, you don't want a new one because it's electronic and it might.
Well, they just have those brains in them, don't they? So if they.
But what makes you think that's going to just conk out?
Well, things. The smarter things get, the more they conk out sometimes. Like my telly doesn't work because it's all clever now, and my air conditioning's controlled by the telly, so that doesn't work. So it's just a knock-on effect of high tech. Sometimes it's better to have the analog one.
Yeah. Just get a couple of bikes.
Yeah.
An old one
And a
one
new
that
one.
don't have any.
Brains.
Yeah.
Donkey brains.
Everything has brains. They're all, even trucks. Everything's run by. It's like four wheels with a computer.
Yeah.
You think that's a bad thing?
I think it's great until it goes wrong. And, I had a new car last year, and you know how much time you spend in your car in LA. It's kind of like your living place.
Yeah.
And if it's going well, you don't notice it, and you just get on with it and you listen to music. But if the brain goes wrong, then it starts pinging all kinds of different things at you, and you constantly think your tires are going flat. And then the one time when you ignore it, then your tires are actually going flat.
Yeah.
You see, so you can't trust it.
Yeah. I think you can get bikes though.
Without brains, just like a good old bike.
Yeah, but then it's a whole nother mess you could get into too when they're like that.
Because they don't tell you, then they're going wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose you're right.
Do you worry about stuff like that then? Armageddon and all that?
I'm getting out of here. Yeah,
getting the hell out of it.
No, I just it's always good to have a flashlight.
Yeah. Are you prepared if you have an earthquake?
I did have a little bit of an earthquake the other month, and I thought, wear my shoes. That's always a good thing to have. Flashlight's good. Some water, that sort of stuff. Yeah, so I have like a little, whittling kit that I take with me when I want to go and whittle some sticks.
Yeah.
But it's always good to have, flashlight.
It's good to have a bunch of stuff in your house because if it did happen like craziness, the first thing people do, they go to supermarkets.
Yeah, no,
they're
that's a bad idea.
killing each other to get a bottle of water. You don't want to be in that situation. That's depressing.
Yeah, no, I've thankfully not found myself in that situation yet, and I hope we don't ever. But yeah, good to have some water in your house.
Good to be prepared though.
It is a Boy Scout kind of
That's
thing.
it.
Yeah.
Baden Powerhouse. Do you ever go in that joint?
I think I have been in there when I was a kid. Yeah.
South Ken.
Yeah. Dib and all that. We had a kind of sort of a version of that at my school where they made you once a week do Army, Navy, or Air Force, and they'd running, jumping, standing still, climbing trees, firing guns, and flying planes and things like that. But for kids.
This was in England?
Yeah. That was actually quite interesting, to be honest.
I'm sure I would love to have done that as a kid. I love doing stuff like that. I never got the opportunity though.
Except they made kids put all the camouflage on their face, and of course when you're a teenager and you're getting spots and...
Didn't help.
There was just kids had like tiger stripes of spots on their face from where the camo was,
Didn't help with the...
Didn't help with the curls.
Acne.
Yeah.
Where did you go to school?
I was out
London?
in the countryside, just between Reading and Henley, a place called Shiplake, and it was actually the furthest place that the Vikings got up the river before they had to put all their boats in a pond and just leave them there and then go on foot. So that's why it's called Shiplake. So it's where the Vikings built their little first big settlement.
So they went from the sea to the river?
Inland in the river, and then stopped at where my old school was. So we were called the Vikings. That was like our mascot thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were they bad people, Vikings?
I think pretty much everyone over the years.
They were just doing their thing.
They were just doing their thing, It was pretty cold where they came from. I'm pretty sure they had to just
survive.
Survive. I mean, England looked like a bit of a soft target, didn't it, at the time? It
Well, I
was
don't know. When was that?
very long time ago. Yeah,
1600s, somewhere around there.
about that.
Yeah, Vikings. They get a bad rap.
I think the comedy, personally.
Huh?
The Pythons always saw the comedy
Yeah.
in the Vikings.
Yeah,
Bloody Vikings.
yeah. So what was your school like?
School was
Was it
fun.
strict?
Yeah, it was like a school that was like
Public school?
had a uniform, yeah, and it was a boys' school. We went to school from like 8 till 8 at night to do our homework at school and then go home for dinner. Most of the other kids were boarders, but I lived in the village next door, so there was like a house of kids that went home, but only really for sleeps. And then we'd go to school on Saturdays, and they'd make you stay till like 6 o'clock playing rugby and stuff. So yeah, and then Tuesdays were like military day. So it was quite a intense school, but it toughens you up, I guess. It keeps you off.
Do you appreciate it now?
Now I do, yeah, definitely. It was definitely a lot of school time going on when I was a kid, but now I think that was a good thing for me. Even if it gives you something to rebel against,
Yeah.
It gives you like a focus.
No, I think it is good. Stuff like that. Compared to kids these days with the entitlement issues,
Well, it's just a lot of internet and a lot of time spent not doing sports and things.
I don't think it helps kids for later on, the way kids are raised now, a lot of them.
I think it's good to have a little bit of
discipline.
Tough, yeah.
And
'Cause
accountability.
It makes you into a person.
Yeah. Oh, Danny, we're all doomed. So you got a new album out, right?
I have.
In parallel.
Yeah. And I put it out on my label and through BMG, through a little sub-label of mine, which I call Hot Records, which is just in Santa Monica, and that stands for Henley-on-Thames Records. So it's like a little quaint English country label, and that's gone through BMG, and it's very exciting.
Did you produce it yourself?
I did, yes. And mostly did all of it kind of myself. I kind of was working on it whilst I was in between doing soundtracks for film and TV, which I've been working on for like 5 years now. So I would have to keep putting it on hold, every time I get a project. So I kind of just worked on it in my room by myself.
Yeah.
And before I even got around to like calling my mates and collaborating, I was kind of already done. And then, so I thought, oh, well, I might as well do a solo record because I'd never done that before.
Did you play all the drums?
I played some of the drums, a little bit of the drums I played live, a little bit of it I programmed. A little bit of it was programmed by a guy called John Bates from the band Big Black Delta. And then Stephen Perkins, obviously, who you know from Jane's Addiction, he played some of the drums, and then Frank Zumo, who's in Sum 41 now. So a lot of different people playing drums on the record, but it was a good kind of combo of everyone.
We should play a track right now. What do you reckon?
Oh, yeah.
This is All About Waiting in Parallel. Danny Harrison, Jonesy's Jukebox, KLOS. KLOS, that was Danny Harrison, All About Waiting. In brackets, parallel. In parallel.
In parallel.
What's that mean then?
Yeah, the record name is In Parallel, and then it has those little lines in it. Just gets confusing.
Yeah, what an idiot I am. Sounds good.
Thanks.
And who mixed it?
Me. I mixed that actually with working with John Bates from Melodrone, Big Black Delta, and Paul Hicks, who I work with composing, and I've probably done about 10 records with Paul. He came from Abbey Road, one of my friends growing up, and we composed together for TV and film, and so he does a kind of little bit of mixing here and there, but most of this record I mixed kind of just myself in my room.
Yeah. Do you live out here?
I do. I live in Santa Monica.
You like it?
I like it, yeah. I'm trying to be close to the beach. I like that, the west side. It's a bit, quiet around here. I don't have many friends on the west side.
Yeah.
But, it's lovely, we get a nice walk by the beach.
There's something to be said about being not by the ocean.
I mean, if today was the first day of rain I've seen for God knows how long ever long I can remember. So coming from where I come from in England, it's lovely to have a 75-degree sunny day every day.
Yeah. I've been here 35 years, and I actually get so excited when it rains and it's overcast.
Yeah, no, it was nice this morning. It was chucking it down.
Was it?
Yeah, about 9 o'clock where I was. It was just chucking it down, and then it all turned nice again.
Oh, man, it's supposed to rain on the weekend. I hope it does. I love it. Never thought I'd say that.
No. Oh,
Yeah.
my mum's from here, so I grew up back and forth between England and LA.
Yeah.
And I used to go to university on the East Coast, but I way prefer being, just by the beach.
Yeah, yeah. Did playing music when you was a kid come naturally? Did you want to be a musician when you was young?
I think I always just knew I would play music. I mean, I played piano and drums and guitar from when I was really little, and I lived above a studio, so it was, Dad didn't like having that many people around, because the studio was in our house.
Yeah.
So, be a lot of me standing in the corner, press record and play, So I learned how to work tape machines when I was a kid, just because there was no one else there. Go and be the engineer, because he did do a bit of guitaring.
Wow.
So then it just kind of carried on from there, and I started making records and just using equipment and fixing stuff and getting into all kinds of synthesizers and anything that would just be left around in the studio.
Are you one of them dudes who collects old vintage stuff?
I don't actually have to. I think I would be if it wasn't for the fact that obviously I got left all of this great stuff, and the studio, and after my dad passed away, I was left in charge of it, and I know how hard it is to maintain all of it, and I always say, like, if you have a piece of gear, if you keep it good, it'll last 100 years, but if you don't, it'll last like 5, and it'll just be broken, and then it just sits in the corner and you don't use it, and you think, oh, I can't chuck it out because it's so good.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work, so it's just taking up space, and then your house gets smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
So I like to try and keep everything working, but that's a full-time job,
Yeah.
So I never really collected my own stuff because I already had all this stuff to look after.
Yeah. Are you a music connoisseur when it comes to like vinyl and all that stuff?
I like vinyl. I have a lot of vinyl. I have a good jukebox full of great singles.
45.
Yeah, and you take a long time to curate that. I grew up always had a jukebox in the house, so I think I value the jukebox like it's a fire that sits in the corner. It's like the center of the room.
Do you have to put money in it to play?
No, I've fixed it so that you don't. The switch. But it doesn't work at the moment, actually, because there was a power surge in my house. Again, back to the electrics.
See, they're
and
coming to get you.
Blew up my jukebox, so now I'm waiting for the guy to come around and fix it.
See, you're playing the El Rey on the 30th.
Yes.
And on the 28th at the Consolation Room in Santa Ana.
Yeah, with Summer Moon and Mariki. So that's going to be a great little lineup. I love those guys.
Who
they're
you
all
playing
actually
with at the El Rey?
The same lineup.
Okay.
And a lot of the people that are in the different bands actually feature on the record as well, which is good. So we got everyone pretty much in their various bands. We'll all be touring together.
Yeah,
so that's good fun.
Yeah. You ever thought of having a band, being in a band, or you just like being solo? Is it?
I had the new number 2, which was an experimental thing. That was the show when you came down years ago with Shepherd.
Yeah.
But I just kind of, when I had Fistful with Ben and Joe, Ben Harper, but it was, touring a lot of the time with bands is different. I mean, I kind of stopped doing that to spend a lot of time doing composing.
Yeah.
And then I just ended up making records for myself. But most of the time I made my records for my bands anyway by myself. So I kind of have never really written, other than the Fistful album, a band record. And I think that's what I'm going to do next.
Yeah. Is it less pressure when it's kind
I think so, yeah. I mean, when you can, especially if you just join someone else's band, which was great.
Yeah.
You can just be the guitar player, and I don't have to sing, and then that makes me really get relaxed and have a great time. It's always less fun when you're the guy in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you've got a certain personality to be the front dude. The front, the one who's not just a singer, but like, what do you call them? Like a front man.
Band leader, front man.
It's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
I look at it as a lot of work, but maybe they don't look at it as a lot of work.
It's good.
Your classic
when it goes
frontman.
well, it's really good. But yeah, it's definitely sometimes nice to just be in someone else's band and then let them have all the responsibility,
Yeah.
and you can just get into playing the music and really worrying about the notes.
Yeah, yeah. You a big fan of ELO?
I am. I'm a huge fan of ELO. I've always have been, and yeah, family kind of connection as well. And I love Jeff. He's a great guy.
I would love him to do a couple of songs with me, produce. Can you ask him?
I'll ask him. So I'm sure if you're out there listening, Jeff, then please do that.
We got some new ELO. It's live at Wembley, and we're going to play. Is it released yet, Shovel?
No, we have these 2 songs. It's coming out very soon.
Okay, this is Xanadu.
Yeah.
What does it actually mean, Xanadu, other than living Newton-John?
Wasn't it the house of William Randolph Hearst?
Oh, is that what it was?
Xanadu. Well, that was what they based it on, wasn't it? It was like Hearst Manor. That was kind of
Hearst Castle.
Yeah, kind of like Citizen,
all the stuff.
Citizen Kane.
Right.
Kind of, yeah.
It's a great word.
Rosebud.
I'm thinking of changing my name to Steve Xanadu, like a stage name. It's pretty good. Okay. We're here with Dhani Harrison. You're listening to Jonesy's Jukebox. Here's a new ELO live from Wembley Stadium. This track. You're listening to Jonesy's Jukebox on KLOS with my guest Dhani Harrison.
Hello.
That was While My Guitar Gently Weeps from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Who got inducted?
That was the night that they inducted my dad. And we were just talking a minute ago about the last Rock and Roll Hall of Fame where I inducted ELO.
Jeff Lynne.
So yeah, there you go. Double Rock and Roll Hall of Fame bill.
What's it like down there? I never went. We're inducted, but I never showed up.
They used to do it at the St. Regis
in New York
and Kathy Lee Gifford Hotel.
That's in New York,
in
right?
the ballroom there.
Yeah.
And I thought I was going to give a speech there because it was like 1,000 people when I did it this year at Rock and Roll of Fame. But they've now moved it to the Barclays Centre, which is like 35,000 people.
It's getting bigger.
Indoors. So it was a lot scarier when I had to give the speech than it was when I went that night with Prince that played that night.
Was it a teleprompter you were reading
Yeah,
from?
but it was really far away.
So you couldn't...
And I had my glasses, and even with my glasses it was a bit touch and go. It was on like a big plasma screen TV, but it was down the other side of the... I mean, it's like an ice hockey arena, isn't it? It's a big, huge basketball arena.
Is it? I find talking in public a nightmare.
It was pretty... Yeah, it was kind of a nightmare. Just tried to get happy about the whole thing, because, you can't... It's ultimately everyone wants to have a great time, and it's, one of my favourite band, so, It was a good laugh, but it's nerve-wracking beforehand. I that night later on at the end, because Pearl Jam got inducted, I actually got to play with them that night, and you'd think that would be more nerve-wracking, but no, the speech was definitely scarier.
It's all on you.
Yeah.
Eyes are on you.
Yeah.
Have you ever done a Star Spangled Banner or something?
No, I don't imagine that they're going to ask me to anytime soon either.
I did one for a boxing match in Santa Monica.
That's awesome.
I came out and did,
Was it at the Civic Centre?
It was some gaff near the airport there, the little Santa Monica airport, in one of them hangars.
Oh, right.
Them hangars there, they had this guy was trying to, bunch of boxers were there, and it was a big deal, and he was trying to get it done on HBO and all that, and he said, would you play the Star Spangled Banner? And so I said, okay. So let me tell you, that is so... a mind-screwing thing, playing that. I'd play it 1,000 times, then I'd wake up in the morning and try one time, and I just ruined it. And I'm like, I'm going to blow this when I do this, And when it actually came time, there's places full up, it's a big thing, and then all of a sudden there's a spotlight on you, and you have to do it.
That's got to be. I mean, it's just the classic one, isn't it? And they always go, oh, they did terribly. And it's like, well, it's just you up there.
Well, that's it. If you mess up a couple of notes, people look at it like you're not respecting it. They don't understand it. You're just a blithering idiot up there.
I loved that bit of footage of Jimi Hendrix. Was it on like Dick Cavett or something? And he's wearing like the kimono. You know, that actually talking of Prince, the one that Prince kind of copied. You know, like the blue sort of kimono, silk kimono.
Yeah.
He's got the big afro. And they're talking about this is Hendrix, not Prince. And that he says, "Oh, you know, you recently played the national anthem."
Where was it at? Woodstock?
Yeah,
That was it, right?
And they said, "Oh, you know," they were like very like, "Whoa, that wasn't very American." Or it wasn't. And he just went like, "No, I think it's beautiful," and was just totally mellow about the whole thing. I loved that interview. I thought that was really funny.
Well, that was the start of all guitarists whenever they got invited to do that. They all kind of base it on
that
Hendrix.
Was exactly the first time it had ever been done like that.
Yeah. So I attempted, not like that, but you know, I had a big amp and a wah-wah and blah blah blah. But I was glad when it was over. Put it that way.
Yeah, I don't think I'd ever have the guts to sing that.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't sing it. Forget singing it. Just playing the guitar. But it was all right. People come up to me and said I did a good job. So it's so quick because I literally was trying to figure it out for about a week. You know, and I had it down, and I didn't have it down, and then no, it's that bit, then that other bit comes, and the whole mind thing, and then you're up there, and a minute and a half later, when it's done, and you're like, oh, no, that's it. Anyway, so let's give you another plug again. Got an album out in parallel. It's out now. Where'd you get it? iTunes, all the rest of it?
Yeah, everywhere, all of the different downloads and streaming services, or you can get a vinyl. I did a nice package for the vinyl. I really like the vinyl.
Yeah, and you're playing November?
We're playing with Summer Moon, which is Nikolai from The Strokes, and Stephen Perkins, you know, from Jane's Addiction, and Mariki, who's opening for us, and she's got a record, a single coming out tomorrow, which is great. So everyone's got new music out, and everyone's just getting together, and we're all about to go off on Saturday on tour.
All right. Well, let's play another one of your songs. Summertime Police. Dhani Harrison, Jonesy's Jukebox, Carlo.